Oh, are we live? Hello, my name is James. Hello if you're new here. I'm just doing this quick little Q&A about the BBC Production Apprenticeship Scheme, where I'm going to answer your questions based off of my time as a production apprentice for the BBC. So for those of you that don't know me, I joined the BBC over 2-3 years ago. It was 2019 that I got the apprenticeship for the BBC, and I joined the entertainment sector, and it was a whole new world for me. It was super scary, and there was never any advice that I found for the application process, for getting up and moving to London. So I'm here today to kind of further my little series that I've got on this channel about the application process and what it's like as a BBC production apprentice. Now, I know at the minute a lot of them are at the video interview stage, so I know a lot of the questions are based off of the video interview. Now, my main tip for the video interview, I've done a whole video over on that, but just to sum up, my main tips for the video interview stage is to have confidence and to really stand out. This is your time to show them what you're like as a person. For me, I made sure that obviously I got my hair did. I made sure I put a nice outfit on, and I just really had fun with it, because a lot of the time interviews can be quite scary. And I didn't want to come across nervous on my interview because I didn't think that was what they were looking for. So I chose in that moment to believe in myself, and that's what really gave me the confidence to answer the video questions effectively, if that makes any sense. So guys, if you've got any questions, do fire them in the live chat. I can see that, so fire them away. I know a lot of you are at the video interview stage, which for me, it was quite daunting about what that entailed, what would they ask. Now, bear with me, because it was about 3 years ago that I did my video interview. So it's been a while. So for me, for my video interview, I'm pretty sure one of the main questions, I think it was the last question that I got asked, was to pitch a TV show. Now, pitching can be scary for anyone in the industry, no matter how many years you've been doing it. But for me, I thought about the idea that I wanted to make. Like, if you're getting into TV and you don't already have an idea of a show that you want to make, you really need to sit and think and be prepared, because you've got to sell yourself at any possibility. Is that saying about selling yourself in 20 seconds in an elevator? So you've got to have your pitch. So luckily at the time I was proper into whole YouTubers and all of that group, and the Alfies, the Zoes, all of that vlog squad. And I think it was just after Marcus and Alfie had done Saturday Night Takeaway. So I'd come up with this concept for a YouTuber themed game show, and I used my few minutes to pitch it. Now, another top tip for the video interview. Now, the BBC themselves don't ask for it, but for me, good lighting. Make sure it's set up nicely. I mean, you're working in TV, so you want it to look as pretty as possible. So if you can, get some nice lighting. Even if you don't have like a studio light or a ring light, just go by a window on a sunny day. Hopefully it'll be a nice clear day. You don't want it to be cloudy, but just get good lighting, because it makes you feel, if you're looking your best, you're going to feel your best. Amy says she has a small bedroom. It's fine. You don't have to. It doesn't say where you can do it. If you can go out in the garden, what you've got to do in your video interview is you've got to stand out. Now, if you've gotten to the video interview stage, then they already have an interest in you as a person. So they want to know more. They want to get a feel for who you are and what you can bring to the BBC. Lewis has said, do they wait until after the closing date before they let people know if they have got through to the next stage? Or will they be sifting through the applications now and letting people know? And that's a great question. Now, in my experience, it was a lot of waiting. If you've applied and you're still waiting on that call back, just be patient. Now, in my year, there were 7,000 applicants for them to go through, and they do go through them individually. A lot of people think it's a computer system, but it's not. It's a team of people, and they sit and they read through every single application, every single answer that you've put on the questionnaire. So it is a human that does it. So it's going to take a lot of time. So just be patient. I know it's really scary. You're really excited. You just want to know, but you've got to be patient, because in this industry, the common rule is once you've been in the industry and you apply for a job, forget about it, because it's such a competitive industry. On the whole, when you're applying for jobs, you don't tend to hear back. But for the apprenticeship, you will hear back. They will email you to let you know if you've been successful or not. So I hope that answers your question, Lewis. If there's any more questions, guys, make sure you fire them in the live chat, and I'll be saving this live stream for you to go back and watch again. I know when I was waiting for I had an issue with mine. So when I actually got the phone call to say I got the apprenticeship, it was maybe a month or so before I was due to start, which everyone else found out way before. But because I changed my mobile number, I changed my mobile number, so they couldn't get in touch with me. So I was thinking, I'm never going to hear back. So if you do change your mobile number, guys, send them an email. You should have an email or a contact. If you've been successful, you should have heard from somebody. So keep those contact details up to date, because it was so important. I was so thankful the day I got an email to say, James, have you changed your number? We have some news for you. Can you give me a call? And at that point, I kind of knew that I'd been successful. Amy says, wait, from the video interview, is there like a Zoom or something? Should I use my phone or computer? No. So it's not a Zoom interview. It's essentially you go onto this online portal where there's 3 questions, or it was for me on my year, it was 3 questions that you have to answer. And it's basically, it's just selfie style. So you get your phone and you can just shoot them like that. It's one at a time. There's no time limit on them. You can re-record it. So if you don't like a take, you can re-record it. But all I will say is, if you've started it, don't start one, think you can come back the next day to do question 2. Get all the questions done in the same sitting, because you'll lose your progress. So no, it's not a video call, Amy. I hope that answers your question and eases some of the pressure. You get to be comfortable. You can do it like I am. I'm in my joggers at the minute, but you can't see that. The beautiful magic of cameras. That makes you feel a lot better. Good. If there's any more questions, guys, fire them over into the live chat. I know a lot of people have questions about relocating if you are successful, and it's like with any job. If you were to get a job as, for example, a train driver, and you had to move to London, you pay that cost up front. You would move your entire life down there. But for example, if in your train job, they had to send you away to do some training. For example, in Newcastle, you had to do like a training course. They would pay for that because they're sending you there. The BBC won't pay for your accommodation for the duration of the apprenticeship. It's not like uni in that sense, I suppose. A lot of people also ask about the qualification you get. It's not, people think, can you do it with a degree? If you've got a degree, you can do the BBC apprenticeship, but it's best if you've studied, for example, media studies at degree level, you may need to double check that you may be overqualified. But I'm certain if you've not studied before at a degree, you can do it. Because we had one of the guys on my cohort did have, I think he had 2 or 3 degrees, but they were in a different subject. That's the only sort of rule around that. But if you've done it at college, that's fine, because it is equivalent to a level 3 BTEC. You just need to double check that the qualification course is not the same as the one you studied at college. I believe the title of the qualification is a level 3 in broadcast journalism. Don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I got mine. I got my certificate somewhere. So yeah, that's sort of qualification front. A lot of the other questions were about hearing back, which I've answered. So I'm just going to double check what other questions I've got on my phone. A lot of people, so if you're in the runners group chat, a lot of people are asking all the time. So I'm just going to pull that one up. for some more questions because so many people want to apply. It is a very competitive scheme. Let me just see if I can find. Bear with me, guys. If you have to relocate, do they suggest cheap places to rent that they know other people have used before? Or do you need to go looking yourself? Yeah, so it's a case of looking yourself. My advice is go on Spare Room. Be prepared. A lot of it is last minute, which is quite nerve-wracking. I don't think I found my my accommodation till like 2 weeks before I was due to move in. But when it comes to accommodation, make sure you check it out thoroughly before, because it was a mess. I was living with cockroaches really, and it was horrible and I was miserable. So make sure you take the time to try and find a nice accommodation. It's expensive in London, but it's definitely worthwhile finding somewhere. There are loads of places on Spare Room, loads of lovely houses. So have a look to see. Let me get some more questions up there with me. Where is it? So one of the questions on the group chat on the runners group on Facebook for people looking for work, and they was asking, if you submit closer to the deadline, are you more likely to be ignored or not considered? No. So the deadline is the 7th of May this week. So it's this Friday, I believe. Just double check that. Yeah. Oh, no, so this Sunday. No, sorry, Friday. It's this Friday, the deadline. So you've got until then to apply. If you apply 1 minute before the closing date, you will still be considered. Everybody gets the fair chance, so I wouldn't worry about that. What's Amy asking? They asked, and I said Salford. So will they relocate? Okay. So the way that it works is when you are successful and they ask you where you'd like to be based, you put down your preferences. So it's Bristol, London, Salford, and then I believe there's the Scottish and the Welsh ones, but I think the Scots and the Welsh are separate. Don't quote me. I think they may have even separated the Bristol since I was there, because there was lots of different cohorts, different apprenticeship schemes, but we all met each other, which was lovely. But my main cohort was based across London and Manchester. So yeah, I put my preferences down as Manchester at the top, I think, then London, and then Salford, just because it was distance to where I'm from. And I just wanted the smallest travel time from home. But I went with London, and that's because I wanted to be based in entertainment. It's exactly the same with the department you want to be based in. So throughout the interview process, they're trying to get to know who you are and what you want from the apprenticeship and where you want to go in your career. So they'll ask you what your preference is for genre of TV, whether that be scripted, entertainment, radio. What are the other ones? Children's, that's another big one. So children's is based in Manchester, entertainment and radio based down in London. And some of the examples of placements people got were Blue Peter, Radio 1, all the radio stations. And then entertainment-wise, I did. So in my year, so within entertainment, shows are quite short, so you move around quite a lot, which was quite nice for me anyway. So I started off on Strictly, then I went to Comic Relief, and then Eurovision, and then I did Glastonbury, and then I went back to Strictly for a month, and then I finished off on later with Jules Holland. So that was different teams, which was lovely. I made loads and loads of contacts. So for me, I enjoyed moving around because it meant I met so many more people and I was able to network a lot better. So again, that's another top tip, is when you're at these interviews, make sure you network. So, oh yeah, the other genre was news. How can I forget BBC News? So when I actually applied, so I said, when I was when I was saying about the preferences earlier, I'd put, I think it was entertainment, children's, radio and then news. Like BBC News was at the bottom of what I wanted to do in my career. And for some reason, when I got the phone call to say, we'd like you to come for a final interview at BBC News, my heart dropped a little bit. But I took the opportunity. I was and ahhing whether to go to the interview. BBC News wasn't for me. I'm very much glitz and glamour and entertainment. That's what I enjoy. But I said to myself, I was like, no, this is an incredible opportunity. Even if BBC News isn't what I want to go in the long term, the short term, I'm going to prove to not only myself, but to them that I'm amazing and I'm the right person for the job. And I went in there and smashed that interview. Now, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I said to myself that if I prove to myself that I can do this, I'll be able to show them. So I researched the headlines that morning on the train down, and sure enough, that's what they asked me about because it was news. Luckily for me, it was when England just got kicked out of the World Cup, so it was really easy for me to answer that one. But they're just looking to figure out who you are as a person. I think that's probably the most important thing to try and bring across throughout your interviews and your applications is who you are. So figuring out who you are, I mean, it's a tough thing to do for anyone, but really try and get to grips with that if you're applying for the scheme and you're going through this process. Again, guys, throw your questions over in the live chat. I can see them all. I'm just referring to some of the ones that people have asked me previously. So bear with me. A lot of people are asking when do they usually open. So the exact date varies every year, but if you're not successful this year, they usually open around March, April time. But there's not just the BBC one, there's the Channel 4 one, and I think ITV have just launched one again in March sort of time. So just keep checking the social medias. You want to be following the BBC Careers page, BBC Get In, ITV Careers, Channel 4 Careers, all of those social medias. Twitter's the best place for updates on all of them. I'm worried about my lack of experience. Do you think this would be an issue, or shall I try and get experience and wait a year to apply? Now, the simple answer is no, you don't need experience. For me, having experience gave me the confidence to apply. So if you have no experience, but you're a super confident person and you can sell yourself and you've already figured everything out and you know who you are and where you're going, then no, I wouldn't say you need experience. But for me, I would, if I hadn't have got the apprenticeship, I feel like I wouldn't have pursued a career in TV, if that makes sense. Whilst it was my passion, I had some experience, but I hadn't had much success, if that makes sense. So the experience I had before the apprenticeship was at college. So I was lucky enough that my college had a local TV network which went out the entire local area, and I was just fortunate enough that they had a slot available on the schedule, and they came to my course group and said, "Hey guys, pitch us some ideas. We're looking for a new show. Pitch us." And my team, we made a 4-part TV series that went out to air, which was incredible. I used researching and I presented it, so a bit of camera up as well. But that was all through college. So if your college is offering you any extracurricular things, make sure you take them. We had a really good quality extracurricular. It was called, what was it? Inspiring Creative Careers, I think it was called. It was a session every week, and we would work with external people as volunteer work. It was free work for them, so that's why they took on college students. So if you are at college, people are really keen to get in touch. So just get in touch with people, make promotional videos. We did, the same guys that I did the TV show with, we did a promo video for the council to relaunch a project. It was this big regeneration project, and we shot this incredible video about the people of our hometown, and it had a big launch event. So from doing these extra, I didn't get paid for these things. I got paid in experience. That's one of the things. If you haven't got it, it's not the end of the world. But if you aren't so confident, having it is really good because it gives you something to talk about. I hope that answers your question there. What else have we got? I was an apprentice as well and wanted to ask how you found looking for work after the scheme ended. Now, it's been a bit of a tough year for folks. So I graduated this scheme at the end of 2019. So it was September time 2019. And I was able to line up a 3-month contract, I think it was, for Geordie OG. So I went up to Newcastle and was filming a spin-off to Geordie Shore. I was what's called a logger, so it's typing down everything they say as they say it. And then I got extended through to January 2020. And then that's when the whispers of COVID-19 started to come around. So TV started to shut down. I was able to do Little Mix the Search, and that was through a contact on my apprenticeship. So just again, if you are successful, networking is so important. So yeah, to answer, finding TV work since the end of the scheme. Initially, it was tough, but possible. And then COVID came along and just wiped everyone out. So still at Tesco. But some exciting news, which I can announce for those of you that follow my YouTube channel normally. I'm off to go do Glastonbury next week. We're doing the Live at Worthy Farm show, I believe. So they've asked me back to go and do that. So that's amazing because I worked with Glastonbury 2 years ago on the scheme. And yeah, that's amazing. So it's all about having these contacts so you get that repeat work. Sorry, Bettina, I can't say, is that Bettina? Am I saying that correctly? Hey, I would love to apply for the BBC Production Apprenticeship. Do I need to be experienced or have some knowledge? So I've briefly touched on that a few minutes ago. So I will upload this so you can watch it back. But the short answer is no, you don't need any experience. If you have some I had some to give me confidence, and that was amazing for me. So yeah, no, in short, you don't need experience. There were people who had never touched a camera before and got onto the scheme. And honestly, the scheme is there to teach you. So one of the questions, so after the video interview, you go to a speed dating style workshop. And one of the questions I got asked was, what do you know about microphones? And I know nothing about audio recording. I knew a little bit about cameras. I could work my way around a camera, but audio, I had no idea. Now, in an interview situation, if you don't know something, you'd usually panic. But I was like, no, I don't know much about audio, but I'd love to learn. And that I believe is what helped them choose me, because you need to be able to learn something whilst you're on the apprenticeship. And if you can help them to understand what you want to get out of it, then they are more likely to provide you that opportunity, if that makes sense. So again, hope that answers your question. If you've got any more, fire them in the live chat for me. What else have I got on here? A lot of people asking about the video interview, which we've touched on already. Again, I'll upload it for you to rewatch. How do you prepare for the assessment day, the in-person interview? Now, this was something I was really nervous about, actually. So after the video interview stage, there was an assessment centre stage. I don't actually think I've made a video on the scheme. I might do a full video on this at some point if that's something you would find useful. But just briefly, the assessment centre, it was split into 2 days. There was two sections, 2 halves of the day. And there was it was a brainstorming, coming up with ideas task, so you had 2 of those to do. One was about a BBC 3 show, and one was a testing games for a children's show. And what you do is you sat with a group of people, and around the room are these assessors, and you've got 1 assessor per person, and they're just kind of looking to see how you work with the team, how you bounce off of our ideas. And I am, hold my hands up, I am not great at coming up with new ideas, but what I am good at is developing other ideas. So we had, I think it was half an hour to write an idea and pitch it to the rest of the group, the rest of the candidates. And we were all pretty nervous, but some of them were coming out with some amazing ideas. And mine came round, and I'm scratching my head going, mine's not very good. What am I going to do? So I pitched it really quickly. And I think I was towards the end of the pitches. So I kind of used that to my advantage and said, but we can use that bit of your idea and use that bit of your idea. And we can make this idea work together. And I think that worked for me. So that's one part of the stage. And then you've got the speed dating. So it's you have an interviewer, and there's like 6 or 7, and they've got a batch of questions to get through. You've got about 5 minutes with each person to answer the questions. You don't have to answer them all if you don't have enough time. And if you run out of time, it's not the end of the world. If you have plenty of time after, if anything, that's good, because it means you can chat, because they've got to get through all these questions, and then you've got time. So I made it through all of my section. I think there was one that I finished early on, and then we just got chatting, and that's when I started talking about my TV show, The Music Room. So that's like the second stage of the assessment centre. And that's at the assessment centre, I believe you do your preferences. So I hope that kind of clears up your assessment centre questions. Hi, Alexander. At the first part of the application, is the video question the last stage? No. So the way that the enrollment, is that the right word? The application process works. So you do your initial application online with the typed out questions. And then if you're successful with that, you get through to the video interview stage. And then you'll do your 3 video questions. And if you're successful with that, you'll be invited to come to an assessment centre, which we just talked about. And then from there, I don't know, it's a little bit sketchy because I went and did a final interview for my department. So there was a lot of people who wanted to do news. I didn't, but somehow managed to go to an interview with the heads of BBC News and convince them that I should have a job, and they gave me a job. But I know some of the people who worked, for example, for Children's, they didn't have to do a final interview after the assessment centre. So all in all, it is a very long process. That's why it starts as early as March, because by September, the scheme starts in September. So it is a very long process. So that's why I say you've got to be patient, and they've got 7,000 people to whittle down. And I mean, for me, it was 7,000 in my year, and there was only 22 of us that got the scheme. So it's incredible. I don't think I've ever really processed how many people I made it down from. And I know that can be quite daunting. I don't try and tell you the numbers because of that. But if you believe in yourself, then they're more likely to believe in you. So I hope that's a little bit more motivating. If you've got any more questions, fire them over. I'm just going to have a quick look to see if I've got any more written down here. I know a lot of people recently have just been really unsure, nervous. So let's see what I can find. We got Emma Gordon. How many apprentices are there at each placement? That's a great question, actually, Emma. So if I can remember correctly, there was 22 of us that got this production scheme, because there's different schemes. There's the production, and there's the journalism, and then there's different types of schemes. But on the production scheme, there was 22 of us, and we were split across Bristol, Manchester, London. Yeah, Bristol, London, and Manchester. And then there was the Scottish and Welsh production, but that was kept separate, different people. So there was 22, and then there was 3 that went to Bristol, and then the rest was sort of evenly split between London and Manchester. Children's, I'm just trying to think about who was on my cohort and where they were placed. So it was 2 people in news, but it should have been 3. Was it 3? No, it was 3 in news. I was one of them. And then there was 2 in entertainment. And I swapped with a girl in entertainment who wanted to do news, didn't like entertainment, wanted to do news. And I was the opposite. I wanted to do entertainment, didn't want to do news. So we was able to make a swap happen because we had the passion and was able to show them that. So yeah, 3 for news, 2 for entertainment. And then I think it was 2 in radio, and then 5 in children's. Hope that I don't think that math adds up, but it's roughly that. But it's not a set amount. So it's, as far as I'm aware, if there's a lot of people who are passionate and they've got the positions, then they can spread them out wherever necessary. If that makes sense. Favorite show you worked on your apprenticeship? That's a great question, actually. Because I was lucky enough to do 6 placements, I think it was, throughout the year. Whereas some of the people literally, so one of my friends, Hannah from the scheme, she just worked on Blue Peter the entire year, which is great because she got a job on Blue Peter afterwards, which was incredible. But for me, I did Strictly, Eurovision, Glastonbury. No, Strictly, Comic Relief, Eurovision, Glastonbury. Later with Jules Holland and back to Strictly. So I did 5.5. I went to Strictly twice. But I really enjoyed the independence I got at Eurovision because I was the researcher. So that was one. They were all really good in different ways. So it's, again, for me, it's hard to pick. But if I had to say, I always have to go Eurovision because it was just so much fun. Great question, James. What roles did you do on each show? So Strictly, I was a studio runner on the Friday and Saturday for the live show and the rehearsals. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because I had Sunday and Monday off. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I spent half of my team going on the road with the VT team. So that's running and what we call login. So that's typing down everything that's said. So I was with the couples as they were training. We'd go and do fun shoots. So all of the VTs that you see of the training week, I was there helping shoot them. I actually got to film a little bit of a VT once, which was amazing. And then when they do the sit-down interviews and training, you sit there with an iPad and you type down everything they say, and it's got a time code for the edit. So that's called login. So that's what I did on Strictly. And then the other half of what my time on Strictly, I was with the dance team, which is, it's not as dancey as it seems, but it's coming up with the concepts for the dances. So Stacey and Kevin, I think it was their Charleston that they did. It was my idea for them to be old people and then go and relive the youth. It was kind of based off of Up. So that was my idea, my concept, which I'm really proud of still to this day. So that's what I did on Strictly. And then I went to Comic Relief, where I was what's called a production runner. So that's in the office, building up so we was working towards a live show. So I was in the office helping with the day-to-day admin, preparing for studio. So it was a lot of the paperwork, the signage, doing all of the shops and getting all of the stuff we needed for the studio ready. And then all of the VT shoots going on them, assisting with what's called running. So it's looking after the talent. We did a lot of these corporate thank you VTs, which I went on. I got to be in the Bodyguard and the Mamma Mia sketch, which was, again, that was very last minute, such an amazing experience to act alongside Richard Madden. Like, who'd have thought? And then after Comic Relief, I went on to Eurovision, which is probably I got my most high up role, which was I was the researcher. So we had a research coming towards the end, towards the live show, and but majority of it was me. So I was researching everything about Tel Aviv. I was researching about all of the contestants. I had to create 41 A4 documents full of information about every single act, about their song, who they were, crazy, interesting facts for Graham Norton to read out. I went on the press tour. I went to all of the press parties. I went to all of the VT shoots, organizing, for social media, we did a surprise VT where we had one of the winners from Eurovision in the background. So I was researching, trying to find people who were massive fans of this guy to be surprised. So it was loads and loads of research, and I really, really enjoyed it because it was really fun to learn about this new place and this whole new world to me. And then I didn't get to go to Tel Aviv, which was really sad, but I did get to be in the gallery in the UK and standing for Rylan, who delivered 12 points. I got to do some presenting with an earpiece for the rehearsal, which was amazing. And then I went on to, what did I after Eurovision? I went to Glastonbury. So again, it was a similar production runner role as Comic Relief, where you're doing the paperwork, creating all the paperwork and the signage and bits, day-to-day like running of the office, and preparing for the live shoot essentially. And then whilst on site at Glastonbury, I was called a scanner runner, which essentially is looking after all of the gallery trucks. So we had, I think it was 4 or 5 of these massive trucks with the galleries in. And these guys can't leave. They can't leave the truck because we're broadcasting live. So it was me looking after them, making sure they'd gone and had something to eat, or if they couldn't go, going and getting it for them. And then my other main role was we'd get the set lists come through from all of the stages across Glastonbury, and I had to update them with the set list so they knew what songs were singing and who was singing what, where, what stage. So it was updating them constantly, which was a lot of back and forth running, which was amazing. I'm very fit now because of it. And then what did I do after Eurovision? Not Eurovision, sorry, Glastonbury. I went to later with Jules Holland, and again, it was the same team of Glastonbury, and we did some running in the studio, same sort of thing, production runner. And then went back to Strictly to do, again, sort of production runner, studio runner, that sort of thing. So it's the lower sort of things. What would you think the placements be if you were part of, say, the radio side, if you're a smaller station as opposed to London? Okay, good question. I wasn't based in radio, so you'll have to bear with me. My knowledge isn't massive on that. But I do know that one of the apprentices who was in radio, he did, I'm sure it was Radio 2. He did some bits for, and I think he even did Radio 1 Extra and Radio 1 at some point. And it was preparing mixes and bits like that. If you're at a smaller station, so if you are on the BBC Apprenticeship scheme and you will be based in London or Manchester for radio, I believe. Don't think there was many radio in Manchester. I think it was all London based for radio. So you'll be at New Broadcast House. That'll be your base. So some of the bases that you've got for the BBC, you've got the base in Bristol. I don't know the name of the building. In London, you've got White City, which is Television Centre. And then you've got New Broadcast House, which is near Oxford Street. And then in Manchester, you've got Media City. And those are sort of the BBC bases. Any more questions, guys? Send them over. Get them in the group chat. I know we've gone through quite a bit already. When we applied now, there's all the local. Oh, wow. Okay. So it's been 3 years since I did the apprenticeship. So it has evolved. Again, if it's local, you'll be doing the same sort of things as you would if it was the national radio, BBC Radio 1. You'd still be going and doing the preparing mixes, I believe, and working with, I mean, one of the radio guys in Scotland, he actually was part of the show. He got an opportunity to sort of write and script a show and deliver it, which was amazing. I messaged him, I was like, well done, mate, proud of you. And I think he was asking for questions or stories, and I sent one in. Got a shout out on BBC Radio Scotland, which was pretty cool. Thank you, Mark. So yeah, even if it is local radio, you'll still get to do quite hands-on experience. So I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry I haven't got much on radio, as it wasn't my department. Again, the radio and TV side of things are quite separate, but the apprenticeship are together, if that makes sense. Hope that helps a little bit. Have we got any more questions, guys? Fire them over. I'm going to see if I've got any more on my phone from people. Sharon, sorry if you've already answered this. Is there any flexibility in the apprenticeship? I really want to apply, as this is the dream, but I'm a parent. Many thanks. That is actually a really valid and good question, Sheridan. So obviously the apprenticeship is open to people of all ages. It depends, I'm going to say, on what department you're in and where you want to go. They will accommodate you in every way they can. They are amazing at things like that. I remember when my sister had her baby just after, so my niece was born the day after, the day before we went live on Comic Relief. So I wanted to stay for the live show. I love my niece to pieces now, but I wanted to get the live show done, and then immediately they was like, right, you can have a week off, go and see your niece, and they were amazing for it. So they are really accommodating. Depends where you're based as well. If you're not based in local and you have to move your family there, I don't know your family setup or your dynamic, but they are really accommodating, and they encourage people of all ages. People, sort of the work week, my work week was usually a 5-day week. On Strictly, it was from Tuesday to Saturday, and I'd have Sunday and Monday off. I know one of the girls in news, she would do sort of 4-hour days, four days a week, and she'd be done by sort of 4 o'clock. A lot of people in TV have kids as well, so I wouldn't be put off if you've got kids. Follow your dreams, 100%. What were the age ranges during my apprenticeship scheme? That's a very good question. So how old was I when I did it? It was 2018, 2019. So I was 21. Yeah, I had my 21st birthday on Strictly, which was amazing. I was sort of 21 on there, but we was as young as 18 up to, I think the oldest one there was 27, I think. I mean, they would go way older if the applicants were there, I assume. They are very much open. Age is but a number. As long as you are above that minimum age, there is no maximum age, I believe. So I hope that answers that question. I think it's 18, the minimum age. They might have changed. I'm sure it's for aimed at college leavers, though. Don't quote me. Any more questions? We've been on for 40 minutes now, so I'm just going to see if I can find any last minute ones on Facebook. I know a lot of people have been going to the Facebook runners group to ask questions about the apprenticeship. So, I mean, I hope this has helped you guys. Video. A lot of them was the video interviews we've struggled with. Hi Ellie. Really struggling to answer the video interview. Okay, so I'm not sure what your deadline is, but I would if you've got the video interview, plan. Make notes. You can look back at them. When it comes to the video interview, it's not 3 questions all in one sitting. It's one at a time. You can take as much time in between, but just don't log off because you might lose your progress. I remember I did that and had to redo all of my answers again, but I'm guessing it worked out because I got the job. So I've got a full video over on video interviews on this channel, so make sure you check that out. It might be able to help you there. And again, I'll upload this as soon as we come off for you to rewatch because we've discussed the video interview already. A lot of the questions on the Facebook page was about the video interview. I think a lot of it is just confidence, guys. If you can believe in yourself, then you're more likely to believe in yourself. I know a lot of people ask about the pay as well, which is quite important, I guess, if you're going to have to get up and move. Now, in London, you get a little bit more because of the London life. I think it's called the London waiting charge or something. So you get, I think it's sort of £4,000 or £5,000 a year more than if you're in Manchester because the cost of living is higher. But it's a good wage. It's a livable wage. It's about, I think it was 18,000 a year for me in London, and then it was about 15,000 a year in Manchester. But don't quote me on those figures. I'm not too sure. But what I'm saying is it is enough to survive off for a full year. It's not, because a lot of apprenticeships are like £4 an hour, and it's not. It's a very well paid apprenticeship, is what I'm saying. Roughly how many positions are available for each location? That's a very good question. So in London, we had about 7 or 8, and about the same-ish in Manchester, and then 3 in Bristol. But again, it's changed a lot since I was there. It's based off of how many applicants they get, where people's preferences are, what jobs are available, and who's willing to take on an apprentice within the BBC, because there's all the different departments and things. But that's the thing, a lot of people are on board. I went to so many different departments. We had people in development, we had people in entertainment, music, radio, children's, all sorts. We had, and obviously the news. So don't focus too much on the numbers. What I would say is focus on the specific stage you're at now. And I know you go crazy and you think to the future, you think, oh my God, it's going to be amazing. But if you just focus all of your energy onto the current stage you're at, then you're more likely to succeed because you'll be focusing on that. I hope that helps a little bit. Any more questions, guys? I'm really enjoying this. I have got a full series playlist. I've just done some short form content for my social medias, which I've up on here as well, working with @BBC Getting, #YouMakeTheBBC. This is kind of like to end that campaign I've been doing with them. So yeah, if you have got any questions that I've not answered or you don't think I've answered thoroughly, get in touch with them at BBC Get In, or one word, on Instagram and Twitter. Twitter's probably the best place to get in touch with them. They've got so much advice, so many people on there ready to answer your questions. Use the hashtag YouMakeTheBBC as well. That's kind of hashtag. It's not sponsored, but it's what I'm promoting at the minute because we love the BBC apprenticeship scheme. Honestly, it really did change my life. As cliche as that is, it got my foot in the door. And like I was saying earlier about me, BBC News, it wasn't what I wanted to do, but I used the opportunity to my advantage. If we've not got any more questions, guys, I think I'm going to end that there. Thank you very much for tuning in. I will upload this for you to rewatch. Make sure you follow my Instagram and Twitter at James_Hancock13. Follow the BBC Get In page and all of the hashtags. And mostly good luck with your application. I hope this has helped in some way. And yeah, go out there and kill it. Good luck, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon, I hope, with more apprenticeship-themed content. Go back and watch it if you've got any more questions. I'm really bad at ending live streams, so thank you very much, guys. Bye!